So I'm ready to jump into it. I'm Deborah Norton. I'm a digital marketing consultant. I also work at the University of Hartford as a workshop instructor and business advisor to some of the clients that they're working with digital marketing. SEO is my favorite topic of all, and search engine optimization is my expertise. And what that really means is what we can do and measures we can take so that our site gets crawled, indexed, and hopefully ranked in Google. That's pretty much the long and short of it. People talk a lot about, SEO as a whole, and really what I wanted to hone in today is what is technical optimization, because the technical optimization, you may have everything right on the front end, what people are looking at and viewing on your site. But on the back end, you may have stumbling blocks where the engine is not able to go forward and read it. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, and what are some of those things. So essentially, I want to talk about what is Google looking for, how are we evaluating SEO, tech SEO. I've given some information on page SEO that's very relevant, and then core web vitals. And then if you make it to the end of our presentation after our Q&A or before our Q&A, I'll be happy to send out to you folks a toolkit which you can work with that are some of my favorite tools and some more information to back up what we're talking about today. So here we go. What is search engine optimization? This one I think pretty much people do understand at this juncture, but search engine optimization is the process of the search engine being able to crawl, index, and eventually rank your website, be it Bing, be it Google. That's what SEO is about. It's about bubbling up a website to the top of search engines for the keyword that you want to be found. What is technical SEO? Technical SEO truly is meeting these processes and ensuring that the website has the technical requirements that the engines are looking for to improve this organic search. And so again, these important elements on the tech side really affect all the crawling, the indexing, and the ranking of website and their architecture. So I went through that pretty quick, but I think we get it. So truly, when it bubbles down to the end of it here, what is Google looking for? And Google has said itself that it is looking for to really suffice the user experience. So it wants to deliver the most relevant search results that are applicable to the search keyword or phrase that you've typed into the engine or you've used on your mobile phone. You might be, so when you're using like mobile, you might be like best Indian restaurant near me. And then you're going to get a list of what's coming up. So what that's going on is the engine is looking at many different aspects to rise and give you the best result. So it's really to match the keyword, the key phrase, very specifically to the page of a website. What they're looking for also is the engine is looking that this website itself, that you have the expertise, you have the authority, and you have the trustworthiness that this is quality information. So when they're looking at this, they're always kind of reviewing it in the engine saying, does this meet expertise, authority, and trustworthiness? And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Again, along the way, I'm going to hop as quick as I can so we can get through this and really kind of get into some specific questions that you folks may be having on this. But along the way, if you have any questions, please interrupt, stop me, and let's talk about it right there and then, because we're going to cover a lot of information quickly. So I've got it set to chat for all attendees. So anybody who has a question can immediately put it in the chat, and we'll discuss them. Okay, so for Google, we are looking at the local search ranking factors. When we're talking about mobile search, when we're talking about local search, which is the majority of searches these days are happening more local because people are using their phones, people's IP addresses are set to a certain geo target. So Google is always serving up information based on where your location is at. So back to the relevancy of your listing, which is Google My Business, your content, and your search query, all of that relevance. Then this is the next factor that Google's looking for is the distance. So they want to know about the query, what you're asking for, the content to match it, the distance and the location based on where you are, and the prominence, how well Google knows this business website. How does it have external citations? Does it have credibility? Back to that authority and credibility part. Okay, someone asked me a question. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any questions here. Are there any different search engines all using similar algorithms? Are the different search engines all using similar algorithms? That's a good question. Everybody has their secret sauce. What we know is definitely in US statistics, 3/4 of the web is being browsed by Google. And on your mobile, and then you've got about 1/3 of the web that is being powered by Bing, and then just a little teeny bit of other search engines that are out there like DuckDuckGo. But generally, if you can, now it would be interesting to say this in front of a bunch of marketers, but generally, if you can rank in Google, you're going to rank in the other search engines because Google's got the most sophisticated algorithms out there. Okay, so when you're making a search query, and here is what I'm showing you is a Google search engine result page. And so this is how Google's algorithm works kind of like in action. And what I'm showing you is that the query is actually pretty a long one. It's Storytelling for Social Change Workshop 2021. And so what the engine is doing, this is the search engine results page. Here's the phrase query. So it wants to match this keywords that I'm using to the user's intent. Well, the user is looking for storytelling workshops. And then it's looking for expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. Right here, when you're looking at a search engine result page, often it's called the SERP page. When you're looking at a SERP page, first you're seeing the advertising ad. Oops, I lost my little cursor. Here we go. Ad. And then last year, this particular landing page is called Storytelling for Social Change 2021 Online Workshop. Now there's about 754 million bazillion pages dedicated towards this query, but this particular Storytelling for Social Change, it had such a relevancy to the query that it ranked organically #1. Why does that mean something? Well, they're the first one that didn't have a paid ad. Here's the page itself, Storytelling for Social Change, and you can tell that you've got the banner, and in the banner, there is text content on there that talks about social change, storytelling right here, what the workshop is about, and oops, I don't have the rest of the page lit up. But so that is what the engine is doing to try to make that happen. So in that process, it's looking at tech aspects that might not be easily known. And some of you are dealing with WordPress websites, do-it-yourself websites like Wix and Squarespace and Shopify. So we have a lot of out-of-the-box ones. We have, we do probably have some people that have custom-coded websites. They're not so prevalent today unless you're building from scratch. But all of the pieces that I'm going to be talking about today with Technical SEO can be implemented in the different platforms that you're using. So understand your tech stack. That's really an important one. And I'm going to give you kind of I don't think I can switch over to the internet very easily, but we can do this at the end. We can see what a site is actually running from a technical standpoint. and we can see what tech stack is the site code in, and which makes a big difference on how we approach this. Now, when we're evaluating search engine optimization, the first thing you want to do, one of the first things that I do as spot checking as a digital marketer, is actually going into a very clear Google search. So not logged into my account, but an absolutely clear search. And I type in the word site, and then the site that you want to see if it is indexed. So right here is just an example, www.mysite.com. What this will show you, when you do this in the engine, it'll show you all the pages that are actually indexed by Google. And it will also give you an idea of what pages are the most prevalent pages and the pages with the most authority that are coming up. So at the end, we'll do a demo of this. Don't let me forget that, because this is really, doing this will show us how many of our pages have been crawled and they're indexed. What it doesn't tell me is what page are they indexed on? Are they on page 1 or are they on page 521? That it doesn't tell me. But it does tell me if we're being crawled and indexed. So that's a good thing. We will look to other tools for that. So right here, and at the end, I've got, again, in the toolkit, add Google Analytics. Google Analytics is free. It's a tool by Google that is going to give you an overview of your site. It really can get very complicated, but just to boil it down, Google Analytics will show you where your traffic is coming from, what pages they're entering from, what pages are they exiting from, what demographics do they have, and why does that mean something to a technical SEO? Well, if I see a page that I've put together that's getting no traffic at all, then I may know something's wrong on the technical side. So I'll start, spot checking there. But if I see something where I have a page, but it's getting a really high bounce rate, that means that people are hitting that page and they're immediately going off. We're going to see this in Google Analytics, and it's going to tell us, hey, the query matched the content, but the user intent wasn't there. There was a disconnect, and people left immediately. So we want to know those things so that we can always change. We can always enhance and change. So get Google Analytics up into your site, whether you're using a DIY site or your WordPress or a custom site. Google Analytics is free. I've got the link for you. The second one is Google Search Console, which this is where tech SEO information will reside more. In the Google Search Console, I can actually see pages that are broken. I can see the value of a page, like which pages have the most value, which pages have links to them, what links are coming into the site, what links are being externally from the site. So the Google Search Console is really where we're going to get more of a good solid foundation about technical SEO. It's going to show us, are the pages rendering? Can people see them? Are they getting a broken link? All of these things are going to be found in the Google Search Console. Make sense, everybody? I can't even see if we're still okay. All right. I do see some questions, so maybe I should switch over and just answer some questions. Let's see, we've got, okay, some people have hand-coded their site. Some people have, that's probably one of my favorites is, I guess it is Patricia that's using HTML and CSS, which is great. I'm just trying to see if I've missed any questions here. Okay, it looks like we've got it all covered. Everybody still with me? No questions so far? Okay, we'll keep moving. Keep moving. Okay. All right, now I'm getting into URL and canonical linking. What does this mean? There, you want to set one address for the search engines to see. To set that address, it's called a canonical link, or we're going to be canonically linking a website to one domain. So what I'm showing you here as an example is that this is right now, it's just a staging page that my friend Phil and I have put together just to kind of hold stuff while the Bravo site is being built out. But the Bravo site could have 4 different domains for the home page. We don't want this. The engines don't want this. So HTTPS is the hypertext protocol, and we're going to secure socket layer. Oops, I'm going right to my site. Boom. Oh, by accident. That was a total accident. Okay, so right here is one variation of the URL. So it's https www.bravointeractivemedia.com. The second example, I'm not using the secure socket layer. So it's www.bravomedia.com. That's another way of looking at it. Then we've got bravointeractivemedia.com/, which you'll often see, especially in WordPress, is /. And then you have the chosen URL for this website, which is bravointeractivemedia.com. It's using HTTPS, but when you put this in the browser, whether you put in any of one of these variations, the highlighted one, since I chose it, I specifically chose it, you set this URL to be the one domain that shows up. So the other domains will render, but they will render under the name of, I'm choosing not to use the W's. So if I'm doing any marketing, whoops, I want to back up. If I'm doing any marketing, I want to, how do I back up? Well, we're just going way too ahead here. If I'm doing any marketing, I'm using bravointeractivemedia.com. If any of these variations are put into the engine, they're going to default to this. So you really want to specify which URL that you want to see in the search results. It gives signals to the engines that you have chosen this page. So you've set up one URL for this domain. And that's going to be the URL that is going to be showing up in the address bar. And someone has a note on this. Where are you setting this canonical link? The canonical link tag is set in the back end of your code. So most of all of this is in the code, or if you're doing a DIY website, you might have an option on your DIY to set a canonical link tag. So, but whether it's a DIY site or it's WordPress or it's hand coded, you are going to be able to set up that one domain. And you're going to want to do that. So that was a good question. It's on the back end. A lot of this stuff does happen on the back end. Okay, and we're moving forward. HTTPS. I almost think of this as like a no-brainer, but this is not security for your website. What this is, it is security. It's security in a sense where if you're transferring information, so if you have on your website, sign up for my email, the S, the security protocol, actually encrypts that information as it's sending it over to the next server. So before with the HTTP, the hypertext link protocol, boom, it went right over to the server, but it wasn't encrypted. When you add the S, it encrypts. Now this is a Google's, not just a standard, but a ranking factor. So if you don't have the S, you are kind of going to get nicked for not having that. So when you're setting up your URL, you definitely want to get an SSL certificate and use the HTTPS with your URL. Make sense so far? All right, great. We'll keep going. Website architecture and crawling. I wanted to talk about this because when we're looking at doing technical SEO on a site, when we have a flat the engines and Google itself absolutely loves to crawl about 3 links down into a website. So that's like the best where you're going to find the best amount of the pages being ranked. So on the right, we have a very flat architecture where we've got our home page, and then here's our main navigation. Here's our sub navigation. As you can tell, they're all just 3 links away from the home page, which makes it easier for the engine to crawl it. When on the right side, you're looking at a more complex hierarchy of architecture, the bottom pieces of these page links that come off of here, and these are new pages, they probably aren't going to necessarily get crawled, or they're not going to get crawled easily. So when we're looking for doing SEO, doing really, I mean, we optimize the whole site technically, but you're really, really, really paying attention to your home page, your main navigation, and your sub navigation. And then as you go further down into here, you want all the aspects in place to keep it correct, but the engine might not be reading it. Okay, next slide. Now crawling, I use this as an example at the end of this in my toolkit here. This is called Screaming Frog. It is a free tool that I use, and it will show me, it will actually crawl the site, and it will give me a ton of information. I put this on for crawling because when you see something calling a status 200 code, you know that page is rendering, it's rendering correctly, and it's all working. So it's indexable right here. So scoops, I don't want to go out of Screaming Frog yet. Boom, how do we get back? All right, so this Screaming Frog, I would really advise folks, do the Google Analytics, do the Google Search Console. This is a little bit more complicated, but what you can find out is something called response codes. That makes a huge difference. And I'll add a link on how to understand a response code. But I'm certain that any of you who have done Googling before, you've hit a page that says 404, oops, sorry, page can't be found. That means that the page is literally not being found. 301 means it's being redirected to another page. These are the things that you want to know: what pages of your site are crawled, what pages are not being found. You can find this in the Google Search Console, but you can also get a little bit into the trickier, techier things right here in Screaming Frog. And like here again, it's not live, so I can't hit it, but Canonical, that's that link tag I talked to you about before. It will show us ones that are using the canonical tag and some that may have been skipped. So there's a real great plethora of information in here that you may want to pull from to give you a better, stronger idea of where your tech SEO is going. Making sense, everybody? Okay, I hope so. Moving forward. Responsiveness. Oh, I do have somebody that's asked a question. Thank you. Let's see, where are we going up here? Absolutely. Who is saying this to me? Patricia. Patricia, you sound like you know how to do some web dev. No, we don't remove old files. We either redirect them. We don't delete things. I see that all the time where people say, oh, that page isn't being used anymore. We're just going to delete it. We will maybe want to permanently redirect it. We might want to temporarily redirect it, but we don't want to just delete it, because if it's been on the site for a long time, it can earn credibility. So that's something that is good. No one can, this is why I never remove old files. No one can find them anymore, but they are still live. Is this wasteful or good? Well, you don't want a page that no one can find to be live. So you want to answer your question on this, you would want to redirect that page. So if that page has files that you're not even using anymore, it has no use to you anymore, but the URL is still in the engines, you may want to pick another page that best kind of suits that content and redirect that old URL to the new URL. And it will take that link juice with it. So if that page has earned credibility in the engines and it has link juice accumulated with it, it will transfer some of that over. Not all of it, but some of it. So I hope that answers your question. It's something that we don't want to do. And you're also making it, code bloat. It's too much code. Code bloat is something that we look at. And why? That's for page speed and page responsiveness. So now I'm getting into mobile friendly and responsive design for websites. This has become a Google ranking factor. So Google is, while most of us are using our smartphones and using this to be our computers, we have to have as our main understanding is that these have to work cross-platform against each size element that it might be being seen through a desktop and through a pad, through a tablet, right down to your mobile. So if that makes sense, we have a check mobile friendliness of a website, and I have this link that's included at the end, but it's being able to see how is Google actually testing the mobile friendliness on this website. Okay, let's move forward. No questions on responsiveness. Well, actually, I want to throw something in here, especially with one of my developer friends who's on our call today. When we look at specifically, what with your DIY sites, this is pretty much built into Wix and Squarespace and all of that. In newer platforms for WordPress, you're going to find responsive templates. So when you're picking a design and a layout for your website and you're using templates, you're going to kind of want to run that template through this test to make sure that it works. That's a really good point to make, is that to make sure you made it, people are actually buying templates, for WordPress, and they're not even mobile friendly. So one of the things, before you test drive a theme, make sure that you're going to have that theme is going to meet the Google standards for responsiveness, because this is a major ranking factor. This is a core web ranking factor. And the next one is speed. And that is absolutely an enormous, in 2021, that became a huge ranking factor, because what they have found out is that if it takes longer than two seconds to load that page, even on your mobile, that you are really bouncing, and you've got a lot of people that are just exiting the site, and not giving it the chance to load. Once you get to like that 4-second mark, boom, you've lost them. So you can go in, and again, at the end, this is in here, but you can check the speed of your website and how things are working and what you can do to improve the speed. So that's at Page Speed Insights. That's what you could type in, but it's also pagespeed.web.dev. So that's an important one. Do we have any questions on page speed and/or responsive websites? No, great. Everybody's getting it, or I'm here alone. It's so funny because while we're using WebEx, I can see your questions, but I can't see you. So I can't see if people are getting it or not getting it. So that's why I want you to always be jumping in. Please let me know if this is making sense. I'm rolling over into images right now, because images can tend to be very heavy on a web page, and they can weigh a web page down and make it actually more difficult for that page speed to be reconciled fast. So what we want to do with our images is, number one, we use very high quality images, and we can compress these for the web so that they are running on the very smallest byte size. Then we name the image that we are putting on our site. So if I have a blog and I'm talking about blueberry smoothies, this is exactly what you're seeing, a picture of a blueberry smoothie. Remember when I talked about how Google is looking for expertise, authority, and trustworthiness? This goes to the trustworthiness. I mean, we've got a blog dedicated to blueberry smoothies. We've got a beautiful image. We've got it compressed. We've got it, the name of it being blueberry smoothie. And then here's Tech SEO. We're adding what's called an alt attribute, where in DIYs, you can do this pretty easily. And we code this ourselves, is we add pretty much a description utilizing some of our keywords here that best describe the image. So this might be blueberry smoothie recipe, if that's what my blog was about. So I'm getting a description that makes sense to this picture. Everybody good? Okay, don't see any questions, so we'll keep moving. Structured data markup. This actually helps the search engine make your site a little more prominent by it's entity-based, which means it's looking and at the engine is looking at the subject matter on the back end of the site, the subject matter on the back end of the site. So you've got title tags. I'm going to get into that in a minute. But what we're able to do with schema.org is find how our site fits into a category. So when we can find our category, we can add what's called schema. We go to schema.org. We add the structured data markup on the back end. That's what we did for that My Story on 911. We talked about it being an online class, an online workshop. So with the schema, you're going to be able to categorize, and this goes into the code, into the hard code. And this helps the engine identify better what they're looking at. Makes sense? Nobody's stopping me, so I think we must be good. I am talking about here internal and external linking. These are very important. Anchor text. When we are writing content on our page and we hyperlink, so the university, the Women's Entrepreneurial Center, they may be talking about, oh, we have some great upcoming workshops, one on technical search engine optimization. That might be in a bulk sentence or a paragraph. If they link that over to the link for their sign up, that's called anchor text. So it's giving you a link of where to go to get that information. So that's within their own website. Does that make sense? That's internal linking. So maybe on one page, they're talking about some great upcoming webinars that they're having. And then they have, within the text, they have a link, which is called anchor text link, which describes another page within that website that people can link over to. That's internal linking. And it is extremely valuable for your site. Is this making sense? Then we have external linking. These are the natural links that happen outside of the web page, but support your content. So let's see an example for this, an external link. Well, when you are going to do the sign up for our classes off of our university website, off of the entrepreneurial website, you click that link to sign up, and you actually go to a third-party link, which is outside of the Entrepreneurial Center's website, which allows you to sign up for the class. That's a natural link that supports the main web page that you just linked from. So the content here says, oh, do you want to sign up for a workshop? Then you go to this external link where that is available. Does that make, okay, we've got some questions on external linking. Let's take a look over here and see what we have. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's like the teeniest little box. Oh. I'm not sure I understand this question. Let's see, Patricia, maybe you want to ask me again. High quality, you're looking at DPI, dots per inch or dots per. I wish Philip was on here because he probably knows these acronyms. But what we want to look at is we work with the highest quality, but then we bring it down to the lowest common denominator to make this the smallest file so that that'll load quick and with high quality. So I hope I answered your question. Then we have another question that has come up. Oh dear, let's see. How do you ensure that users go back to your page after the external link? You don't. But one thing we can do, and we can do this in hand coding. I'm not sure how they do it with some of the DIY sites, but if I've linked to an external website where I want you on my website, but then I have a link to a third-party website to get some information on, like say, oh, you want some more information on Google My Business, you can click here. What I would do is make sure that my browser, that where you had that open, when you click that link, it doesn't change on that page that you're on. It actually sets up a new tab and comes out on a second page. Does that make sense? So what happens is the external link, if you click it, you could have it change right on that page. So your website would be punted, it'd be gone. But instead you click it and you have it open up into a new tab. So you've got your site open and the external. So that's how we can avoid having people just bounce off of our site once they see a link that they want to, an external link that they want to click on. I hope that answers that. Are there any more questions on linking? Okay. Let's see. No, you don't want to send people away from your website. That is absolutely true. Okay. Let's move forward. All right. So here's where I just wanted to really highlight up what I was talking about. These are kind of some of the main things that you can do, and you can do immediately, is adding the tech aspects to your website to immediately address. These are things that we've already gone over: the Google Search Console, crawlability, can it be crawled, HTTPS, making sure it has that SSL certificate connected to it. Mobile friendliness, we talked about that. Page speed, we talked about images using high quality, getting an all out attribute on them, and then schema markup, helping it delivering a more accurate result. And this goes into the back end, into your code, and go into schema.org and find your category of where you best fit. So you can add that to the code, helps the engine understand that page more, and internal and external linking. So before I go any further, how are we doing? Is everybody still with me? We're good? No questions so far, or for any further questions? Okay, great. We're just going to keep going. Okay. I added this because I wanted to talk about some quick on-page SEO aspects that you want to be aware of. First thing is keyword research. Do the keyword research before you do your writing, because if you're able to find those words that are being utilized, you want to incorporate them within your text. You do not want to duplicate them over and over and over. That's not the purpose. What the engine is looking for is what's called natural language processing. So it wants to find the keyword or the phrase that best, the query that best fits the page, but it also, you don't want to repeat that word over and over. You want to use iterations of the word. You want to keep making reference to it, but in a very natural way, as if you are speaking to somebody, or you're reading a paper. You don't want to, what we call it in the bad zone, keyword stuffing, like just saying blueberry smoothies. We sell great blueberry smoothies. Blueberry smoothies are terrific with ice cold on hot days. You know, we don't want to keep doing that. We want it to make sense. You know, so we want it to make sense, not just to the user, that's the most important part, but also to the engine is going to be looking at that too. But you want to find variations and how people are looking things up. So do a search of related searches. You're going to find at the end, you're going to find some great information on keyword research. When you're making a search query, if you scroll to the bottom in your search engine, you're going to see related searches. So that's another great place to get some keyword research ideas from. Other tools that I use is the Google Search Console will actually show you actual keywords that people have used. Google My Business had it in the insights, Google Business Profile, they're kind of fading that out. But you are going to get it on the performance reporting from the Google Search Console. So definitely, again, the Search Console and the Google Analytics free, get them into the site. This comes directly from Google. So it's saying the most basic signal that information is relevant when a web page contains the same keywords as the search query. If those keywords appear on the page, or if they appear in the heading, the body, the text, the information is more likely to be relevant. So no stuffing, but definitely doing keyword research and seeing how you can get that iteration and get that those keywords richly into the content. So this comes directly from Google. So on page SEO, when we're looking at content creation, is, you know, the first 100, 1,000 page, first 100 words on that page are really the most imperative. And when a search engine is looking at words on a page, it may not be what you're seeing. You may see, like, in the example I showed you, storytelling for social change, you saw the banner. It's looking at the alt attribute. Remember that description I talked about? It's looking at that as content, and looking at that, the text on that, on the image itself. So it's reading like that. So it may be reading things on the back end that that you're not seeing all attributes on the image unless you hover over it. So what I'm saying is, get these keywords into natural language, get these keywords incorporated into all aspects of the site. And I think I have a better, I want to show, this is what I want to show you. Okay. Right here is, this is what when I'm talking about SERPs here. Wait, give me a sec. All right. We succinctly get these. This is where I was paying attention here. People scanning pages. I missed my own content here because people are scanning, they're not reading. So short paragraphs break things up. This is on content creation, using natural language processing, using those keywords, incorporating them in. When you're incorporating them in, I'm skipping over here because now we're talking about, this is all on the back end. So this is technical SEO. It's saying heading 1 is my main heading. So blueberry smoothies. My heading 2 might be how to make amazing blueberry smoothies for summer. And then I might have a third heading. So this layout that you're looking at right here is in the back end in your code. And with these headings and subheadings, you're giving Google a very clear idea of what this whole page is about and what they can expect from it. And that's where they can pull to get information here, right here, for the page title. The main heading, well, actually, there's a meta, what's called a meta title tag. Hopefully it will pull from that meta title tag, and that'll be your page title. And that's 50 to 60 characters long. And then we have a description, which is about 120 to 160 characters. But these are either pulled from the meta description and the meta tag, or they're pulled directly from the first 100 page 100 words on the page that Google feels is relevant. So you don't really get to set that. We do our best with setting it with page titles and descriptions, but Google's going to index it and crawl it the way it wants to. Okay, so any questions on this stuff? No, everybody's great on headings and subheadings and keyword research. Okay, I'm going to move to the next. This was, I liked this. Moz put this out, and this was kind of like the hierarchy of needs to a website. So look at the foundation that it's sitting on is, can this be crawled? Can the content be found at all? Then the next part is, this is essential to rankings and competitiveness. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so then we've got our accessibility and our crawling, being able to see if it's crawled by the engines. Then we've got our compelling content right there, and that's going to answer the searcher's query. So it's going to be, that's another anchor for this hierarchy of needs. And then we have the keyword optimization and the keyword research that we've done. Super user experience. It's fast loading. It goes across multiple devices. It works. It doesn't have broken links and broken pages. Share-worthy content. This is really high up there. When you're writing a blog or you've got information where you want to share, you can actually get share buttons for your social connections right on the page of your blog. So if you've written something and it's terrific, you really want to make that really easy for people to share. And so by adding those share-worthy content, earns citations, gets amplification, getting that kind of making it so easy that people can share it is really worthwhile, because it helps earn all of these things, links coming in, citations, it amplifies it. That next piece on it, in Maslow's hierarchy, Maslow's title, URL, description. I've talked all about that, incorporating in the title into the URL, into the description, some of those really good keywords that make sense. And they are crawling on the top of the level using the schema markup, which I was talking about before, adding that snippet in, because it actually will make you stand out. That's how we were able to get, the Story Matter company, we were able to get the My Story 911, which was a brand new landing page. We were able to get that to rank immediately without even having any backlinks and all of that stuff, by using schema markup, by making it so relevant that the query answered the question that was presented to the search engine, or the query that was presented exactly matched our page. And that's how we were able to bubble up to the top. Make sense? Everybody good? Okay, great. We'll keep going. I've talked about this. It's just another piece of Tech SEO. What Google's looking for is this new piece is called Core Web Vitals. That was implemented last year. It's looking at the load time. And again, this is where you're looking at at how long does it take for that page to load? Are the images compressed? All of that. This Core Web Vitals became a ranking factor, so you want to pay proper attention to them. Interactivity, the first point of delay. It's the first point where people enter the site, and it's making sure, is that running correctly? All of that is the link that's on the search engine result page interactive and being able to render when they click it. So that's it. That's it. Visual stability, keeping everything the same versus your, for your mobile and so forth. Mobile friendliness. It's looking at all of this is called the Core Web Vitals, but it's really looking at all of these things as well. The mobile friendliness of the site, safe browsing, the SSL certificate, which is next. No intrusive intercessionals. Intercessionals are when these are left. An intercessional is where a pop-up comes in the middle, like, oh, would you like to get 10% off? Here's sign up for our email newsletter. Or they're really best at the end because they're not really friendly from the search engine standpoint. So they don't like when a screen blacks out and says, well, you have to like put in all this information. So if you want to, like if you've got a site up and you've got it running and someone's about to leave your site, you can put an intercessional saying, hey, sorry to see you leave, but would love to have more, contact or give you more information to you, sign up for our newsletter. Putting it at the end when people are about to leave versus having that from the onset. So these are page signals that Google's looking at. Okay, make sense? I can't tell if it makes sense to everybody. I hope it does. Okay, terrific. Let's keep moving. And we are going from overall ranking factors back to that trust and authority. I can't say it enough. I mean, that's exactly what the engines are looking for, that EAT, as I described it: expertise, authority, trustworthiness. So in another aspect of that is, like, say if you belong to any associations, for me, it would be like Search Engine Marketers of New England. I'd want to maybe add that as a credibility factor on the bottom of my website, or that I sat as a judge for the United States Search Awards last year. So I may want to have a logo of the US Search Awards that I was a judge. So these are pieces that you put on the page give the trust and authority. You'll see that often in the end. You won't really want to link those out, but you will definitely want to put an alt tag on them so you can build up that trust. You're building trust between the user and your site. You're also building trust with the engine, if that makes sense. Link popularity, how many links are coming in? It's looking at links coming in. Now, how many link popularity? So how, I'm like having a stumble here because this is the inbound anchor links. This is the external links coming into your site. So we're going to find that out in the Google Search Console. So then we've got our inbound anchor links. Then we've got, this is on-page ranking factors. Then we've got our keyword usage, the traffic and the click-through, the engagement. That's something I talked about right on the onset. Are people staying on the page and getting engaged? And, you're giving the reader the right information. You're giving the visitor the right information. If so, then that engagement goes up. That's worth, like I said, right here, it's 20% of what's considered a ranking factor. And then you've got 4% registration and hosting. Those might even be higher at this juncture because there's places to host where you are hosting and it can be very quick. So it speeds up your page, speeds up your site. Fundamentals, back to fundamentals. This is stuff we've covered: our keyword research, discovering the right words that people are looking for, on-page content being very prevalent in using the keywords that match the user's intent, using unique page titles and descriptions and title tags, structured headings on page where we saw the H1, the H2, the H3, kind of like an outline. That's a great way to have that in the code. Again, helps the engine read it better. Images, keep them compressed, keep them high quality, make sure you get alt tags on top of them so we know the description of what we are looking at. And when we're talking about consistent NAP, a lot of times people will go across the web and like say they're in the Google business profile, or they're on a on their website, the Google business profile, and they start putting um, say street ST, or they write it out street in some aspects, and sometimes they leave it ST. What we're trying to do is keep that consistent. So if you are using street and you write it out, keep it consistent across the board whenever you write out your name, your address, and your phone number. So keep that consistency. That's going to help. Adding social media profile links to your social information is going to also be a factor of helping. And then Google business profile, make sure you add it because it's free and it is an awesome way for you to even link back to your website. So you can make a post in your Google business profile and link over to the website and see what's happening over there. In fact, the Entrepreneurial Center is doing that now. So now in their Google business profile, they have their upcoming workshop, and boom, there's a link right from the post in Google business profile right to where you can sign up for the class. So that actually helps the credibility of the overall site as a whole. Any questions? No, we're moving quick. All right. Fundamentals, keywords, we talked about this, natural language processing. Remember, we're geo-targeting using those headings, the main body of content. I would keep this to about 1,000 to 1,500 words unless you have a reason to write more. Unique descriptions. Check your indexing by doing this this trick. I hate calling them tricks. Utilizing this checking indexing by typing into the search query site : and we can do that in just a few minutes when we spot check some sites. And then we've got the images, video content is huge, and we can have our video on our website and also on our YouTube channel. So we can have people, we can have a snippet of code that'll show a video or even an excerpt of the video, and then they could link over to YouTube. So that's another way to use video, and video is extremely popular. Utilizing links, I talked about that, internal linking, external linking, and then keeping the NAP the same, and landing pages. SEO optimization toolkit. We've actually made it to the end of this presentation. We did it pretty snappy, which gives us a lot of time to answer questions and to maybe get into, I'm going to share my screen and be able to actually look at some sites. Here we've got this open right now. Is there anyone who would like to put their site in and just I can show you how I kind of spot critique? Come on, the brave soul that does this first. I don't know, what would be a great gift for you? You could have 15 minutes of my time. I'm surprised Philip's not jumping all over that. Come on, anybody. Is there anybody that wants to put their site in so we can look at it? No? Oh, well, this is not to be critical. All right, we'll put in one that I know. We're going to put in, I'm working with, I'm going to put in this website, Thriver Zone. And so I'm going to show you a little bit of things that I'm going to look at right on the onset. So remember I said I want to do, so here's what we can see from that exactly. Go back to that. Whoop. Here we go. So the way that this URL is coming through, the way that this URL is coming through is https:// Zone. So no dubs. So it's canonically linked to the non-WWs, and it does have a slash on the end. So when I do cite, I'm going to be able to see that in this website, we have about 98 results that are being indexed in Google. Where in the indexing, we don't know, but we do know that they're being indexed. What we do see is the level of what is getting the most. When we look at a search result page like this, where we've put our site in, and hopefully you guys have done that, you're able to see what pages have the most domain authority, have the most credibility to them. So right now it's the home page, and 90% of the time it should it should be the home page. The home page should be the most important. But the second in her in this is the blog. So this the URL right here, blog, that has the second most indexed. It's indexed second. We don't know where in the indexing these are, but we know they're indexed, but that we can see by level of importance and priority here. So workshops and so forth. And then we can go in and kind of spot check. I don't know, I guess I'm putting this site on the, I'm just giving it, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination judging, because every site, there's not a website I've ever seen that doesn't have things that can always be improved upon. In fact, this is really important to say, but there is no perfect house. There is no perfect website. And with that being said, we do our best to meet Google's requirements, but nothing is perfect. And when you get more into the DIY sites, you have less control over some of the things that you may want to be able to do on a tech side. So while this is actually running a performance analysis, it's trying to show how is it coming through. All right, and I don't know if it's okay. Well, it needs some help when it comes to mobile, but I bet you desktop, the desktop, it went much better. Time to interact, remember that we talked about that before in the eat section. So the mobile needs a little bit more help from a performance standpoint. On a desktop, it's doing really good. It's at 80%. We can probably help that by just compressing things a little bit more. So all of these tools will help us really evaluate and be able to make distinctions on what will work, what is working, and where do we have areas of improvement? Where are there areas that we can improve on? And we got through that really quickly. Are there any, please, we can actually open up, and I'm not sure how we can do this, but I think we can open up like a Q&A where you can just ask questions right into the mic and you don't have to type. Shelly, are you still with me? No? Okay.
I'm here, Deb.
Hi there, Fred. Do we know how to unmute everybody?
Should be able to do that.
Super.
Let's see.
I think maybe it's on my side if I'm still screen sharing.
All attendees.
I said, well, I do see some questions that came in. Whoa, the chat went big, huge. Okay, let's get the chat back up. I saw some questions that had come in that I didn't answer before. So let me get on over here.
I'm unmuting them individually.
Okay, super. We answered that question. My chats are not getting through. Oh dear.
Getting on mommy's nerves again. No, you're not going up there.
Okay, and maybe if you want to, now that everybody's unmuted, maybe if you want to mute yourself if you don't want to speak. But do we have it? So if you everybody's off mute so we can hear everybody. You may want to mute yourself unless you have a question. So since we do have some questions that came in, it might be easier for me to answer them if you ask me. So unmute yourself if you would like to ask a question.
Hi, I'm Janice.
Good morning, Janice.
I sent you, I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I sent you my website. I was trying to get to you. And I haven't asked a question as much because it's kind of like me in algebra. I have a lower level, like I'm just learning because half the stuff at this time, I'm not perfected at. But my website is capital ZEN capital PORA.com. I was just working on it from 3 to 5 a.m.
Oh, wow. Okay,
So-
is it zenport.com, you said?
Zenpora.com. I picked the Zen, but yet the rest unusual. So, well, first of all, I wanted to get Zen in there, but I knew I wanted to make it like Exxon.
Okay, so ZENP.
ORA.com.
Okay. Let's see what we've got going on here.
And thank you. You were very good.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, great. Zenpora. Okay, I'm so glad that you have allowed me. And boy, and you're doing integrative therapy, and I love all of that. So here would be one of the first things that I would do. As I said before, I would come in here and I would do this. I want to know.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna start doing what I would do as a marketer and to see what was going on. All right, so what I'm looking at right now with your website, and as I'm using a program called Built With. So this is telling me about the text.
What is the program, please?
It's right up here, builtwith.com.
Thank
Built
you.
With. No worries. And so what Built With does is Built With tells me actually what is the technology stack that's being used in this website. So I can see that you're running Squarespace. I can see that I can see each of the aspects. I do not see, do we have Google Analytics involved here? You see what yes, nope, we've got an ad bot. Okay, you don't have Google Analytics installed yet. So that's going to be something that you're going to want to do. And that's something you can do today.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, Google Analytics and the Google Search Console.
I was told to do that a couple of years ago by somebody, but I wasn't mentally in the right, but I'm ready now. So
you're ready, girl, because that's going to help you get further along with this site. So let's do a couple other things that I would do to check this out. So we did Built With. And that showed me her tech stack. Now I want to do this. This is showing me, if I do this. Boom. Okay, now I can see we have 17 results for this website. And where I'm looking at is, I'm looking at the about pages, and I see something really great that was done here. So Janice put the actual name of this. I might like here's a perfect one: sound and energy healing session. It tells me exactly what she's doing, what that page is about, and then the name of her business. So that's perfect. I would be, if I did that myself, I'd be happy. And then right here, the about us, it's probably pulling from the unless you set I can't remember, what was it, Squarespace? Okay, so Squarespace probably set up the tags for you, but they came out well. You probably had to input them about us, what it's about. So
my son set it up for me. I just
there you go. There you go. And then the other thing would be that page speed insights. I would check that. And this is where it gets a little bit more hairy, because you're like, it's kind of, I bet your desktop will be faster. So these are the spot checks that you can do. And you're also going to be doing this in the Google Search Console. It's going to give you a plethora of information. where things are working and where things can be enhanced upon. So look at this on a desktop, it's saying that the speed is at 94%.
It is good.
Yay, yeah, and the do-it-yourself websites are getting much better about that. Oops. I would be interested to see what mobile has to say. Let's see how we're doing. Yeah, it's mediocre, but we can fix that kind of stuff. Sometimes with DIYs, we don't have as much leeway to fix. But you're on a good start. The other thing with your site, let me just go back to it one more second.
The people leave at the homepage, although I've got a large homepage that really it does a good job covering everything quickly. But they get to testimonials, and which are freaking fantastic. I don't know.
So your challenge is that people are bouncing off of the homepage?
Well, yes, they like 68% go to the homepage and leave, but it is a very inclusive homepage, and people are starting to come back. Like they go back and look again and again. I think their depth experiences, and I had a educated before that, and so I've changed tremendously, and I really skew to like 55 and older.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah, I would do a couple of things to keep people engaged a little bit more is
yeah, I don't want to scare people off, but
no, but what I'm looking at, this is the call to action, and you know, you may even want to, I don't know if you've ever considered using like Calendarly and maybe allowing people to have maybe 10 minutes of your time so you could explain your expertise.
this morning.
Sorry?
But they tend to just do everything for them. That's my fault. Then it turns into an hour because I've done that. But I know that was in my head at 3 o'clock. I'll do that.
Well, whether you choose to do that or schedule up a session, the contrast is what I'm looking at here. It's purple on purple, and I can barely see it. And if I'm out in my here and I'm outside, I'm never going to see it. So I would make that a more contrasting and more, prevalent, because that's
Prevalent?
I would change. I would maybe put this in a box with a sign up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and even here where you've got another call to action, you've got purple on purple. And I might even make this font bigger because you want to show, hey, we've got packages. You can try us out. You want these call to actions to be so clear and so clean that people don't have to think.
I barely have a call to action. Yes.
Well, you want these people to join a private email list, yes?
Yes, I just finally got that going.
Okay, so you want them, that's a call to action. So you want them to do that. So I would make that more prevalent. Just one more thing. One of the things we didn't talk about, and let me see, I'm not seeing it on your website. And please, everybody, this is something that I should have had in my slideshare, but we need to add a privacy statement when we're collecting any information and any data. We have to absolutely have a privacy statement on where is our data being stored. If you look up what's called GDPR, I'll put it right here. It's called GDPR privacy statement.
If people are older, they can't see the purple on purple.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when you're collecting information, like you're collecting someone's email address for a newsletter, you absolutely, according to all of the European Union law, as well as now it's going state by state, and Connecticut is included, we're using what's called the Privacy Data Act, the U.S. Privacy Data Act. So you have to have a privacy statement if you're collecting any information from anybody. And I meant to put that in my slide share because that's a big one. And people haven't really been caught for, well, actually they have. Using, if your server gets hacked or something happens, you've got an understanding. So look up GDPR because that's the European Union's policy, and kind of the gold standard. It's what New York, California is just as strong as the GDPR. So if you're collecting information or you're selling or you're doing business, you're going to want to have that compliance up.
Fantastic. I've seen that everywhere, and it does give you a level of security when you're leaving information. I'm just working alone as quickly as I can. So
Of course, of course. Well, thanks so much for being brave soul and getting your information out here.
hey, bless you. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll do it.
Hi, Karen. Oh, is it Patricia or Karen?
Patricia.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you.
So I'm coming from a slightly different perspective. I'm an artist. I've been on the web since before. I've been online since before there was a web. That's how old I am. And my first website, it was from 2003.
All right.
I've been here a while. So I think I need mostly fine tuning, but I'm not sure because I have I don't have that many people coming to my site, to my website. So I need to increase that. But I'm not sure how or where exactly because a lot of these things that you've discussed, I've already had implemented for like a while.
Okay. And the biggest challenge is for you that you're not having people stay
Right.
or they're not making the purchase. What's going on?
Well, both of those things. I don't really have a good sense of. Well, I've noticed that there have been, according to Share This thingy, there are 78 people that have shared things. I don't know who that is. I was surprised I had even that many because I thought I was the only one visiting my website.
Well, that you don't want. What's the name of your website?
VENER ART.com.
Okay. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, it's up to 80
So
shares.
that's what it opens with.
Yeah,
And what's it built with?
I've hand coded it, HTML and CSS.
You go, girl.
Well,
Okay.
I also have a master's degree in astrophysics, so you know.
All right. I'm
If I can't
impressed.
code in HTML, what am I doing?
Look at you. Well, I don't code, so that's interesting. But right off the bat, I'd say that intercessional,
Mhm.
maybe further down the road, get
Yeah.
it in more at the end.
Mhm.
Because that's kind of the first off.
Yeah.
And one of the things that when I look at a website, and this is not necessarily tech SEO, but this is digital marketing, this is advertising. When I look at this, it doesn't, I would love to say right here is where you have it. Giftable original art.
Yeah, I just put
Perhaps
that
you'll
in.
find something special for someone special.
Mhm.
I guess that goes with the giftables.
Yeah.
What I would want here is a super big clear statement like handmade. Are they handmade?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
See now that was just a guess. So handmade crafted bead artwork for sale. I mean, big. I mean, you've got a note here that's giftable. I would like, handmade beaded artwork and for sale. That's not like the best of
Well,
words.
it's not just the bead weaving too. I also am concentrating even more on paintings.
Okay.
So, and if
Well,
you
that
go in,
says nothing. Well, we've got coloring pages, paintings. That you may want to change up your homepage then if you want to really switch it up. But with or right here, you might want to change it to, about could kind of blog. This could be more like beaded work, or paintings, or you've got your sub nav over here, right?
yeah, I have 2 navs.
Yeah, this is your main nav, but then this, oh, there are two navs.
Yeah, this is all the work down here and this is all the other stuff.
Yeah,
up here.
I see it now. I do see it now. So at least
And my
great.
privacy statement is in
You
my
got
face.
one. Terrific. So, I think with your situation here, and you're still not running an SSL certificate,
No,
that
I'm
you're-
not.
that
I
you're
don't-
going to want to do immediately.
Okay, because I don't collect any payment through here.
It doesn't matter. It's still a ranking factor for Google.
Okay, all right. I will do that.
So absolutely get an SSL on there because
Mhm.
even in some of the browsers now, I think it's Netscape, not Netscape. Oh my God, I'm going back to the ancient days. Safari. So one of them is saying not secure, don't go down here. I
Yeah.
can't remember which one it is. But so you're going to want to fix that and get that
Okay.
SSL certificate on there.
Okay.
So how are they making the purchase? They're not.
Oh, what happens is when you go to purchase something, I'm integrated with Artwork Archive and it'll take them to Artwork Archive and they'll purchase through Artwork Archive.
Understood.
They
And
inquire and
you-
purchase.
Yep. Okay. And where are we going here? I'm lost because all right, these are so pretty. So if I'm trying to purchase these, what am I going to? Am I missing something over here with all
Yeah,
my?
you have inquire and purchase. And
Okay.
then I send an invoice and then you pay through the invoice.
Oh, I see. Okay. So if I purchase,
Yeah, see, then you get,
well, you are collecting data here. So you
right, but
absolutely
that goes to Artwork Archive. It doesn't come to me.
sure, but it's still on your site.
Okay, all right.
So you're
Then
still
I will do that.
responsible for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. That's a given.
Okay.
So definitely, but beautiful, beautiful stuff here. I mean, gorgeous.
Thank you.
And are you promoting it any other places? Are you using SD or?
Mostly I'm just doing come on Facebook and Instagram. Once in a while
Okay.
I'll do Pinterest, but I'm kind of annoyed with Pinterest right now.
And how old is your site?
Well, if you scroll to the bottom, you can see my copyright is from 2003 till this year.
Oh, right. Awesome. Awesome sauce. So that's great. And then I would go through and kind of, and at the end, Patricia, everybody can send me an email and I will send to you my SEO toolkit, which includes all of these links that I've been talking about and where to get, how to sign up for Google Analytics is all on there. So anybody right now, please send me an email to dnorton27 right here at gmail.com. So dnorton27 at gmail.com if you'd like to receive the toolkit that I've put together that'll give you information on all of these links that we've spoken about.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.